We didn't have one growing up, but I think in around class 5, I told my mom that I wanted a computer. And so she was like, we can't afford one now, but I'm going to make sure you get a computer. So in class 5, I think one time nimetoka shule, I was just from school. Then I came home and she had bought me a mouse.
Hi, welcome to the Journey Africa. I'm your host, Faith Murungu, and in today's episode, we are joined by a techie who farms. Hi, techie who farms.
Hi, hello.
What's your name?
Hi, my name is James Reed Muindi, and yeah, I'm the techie who farms.
You're the techie who farms.
Yeah.
Could you just walk us through your background?
Yeah, so I was a techie first. Before I started farming. I became a farmer and tried to kind of see how the two join together. But my journey in tech actually started way earlier. I think in class, 5.
Wait a minute. Class 5?
Yes.
What were you doing in tech in class 5?
It was interesting because first as a kid, I was always fascinated with phones. Because right then is when they were starting to become popular.
Which is this and which phone is this?
There was a phone called I think the Siemens A35. It was like the first phone. It had a game called Snake Senzia. I don't know if anyone remembers. Yeah. And so I loved playing Snake Senzia on that phone. So then I got fascinated. Then I think more phones came. The Sony Ericsson, the Motorola, the flip phone came. Then that one even had like a better kind of experience. You could like create ringtones and stuff. So I was always curious about that aspect of tech.
Yeah.
And so I'd also been fascinated by computers. We didn't have one growing up, but I think in around class 5, I told my mom that I wanted a computer. And so she was like, we can't afford one now, but I'm going to make sure you get a computer. So in class 5, I think one time nimetoka shule, I was just from school. Then I came home and she had bought me a mouse. So she had bought a mouse. So literally she told me,
part of a computer.
This is part of a computer. It's called a mouse.
Yeah.
We shall go step by step. Year after year until you can be able to afford the computer and get the full computer.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, that's how I think my passion, and she's on. I think that's what ignited my passion. Yeah. Because I was so glad I had a mouse. Like I was going to school and telling guys, "Hey guys, I have a mouse." I literally have a mouse. Yeah. So and that's when I think my passion came, and so come to I think end of primary school, that's when I started going to a lot of the cyber cafes, playing around, learning how the computer works, going on the internet and all that. And yeah, I think when I cleared my class 8 is when now so all the way between class 5 and class 8, finally the computer became a full computer. Yeah, mouse, keyboard, power unit, a monitor, and finally in class 8 it became a computer. So immediately in class 8, I opened my first Yahoo email account.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's, I think, where my journey started. And I'd always been entrepreneurial from a very young age. So by that time, I think around primary school, class 8, I had learned how to play with Microsoft Publisher. There's a software called Microsoft Publisher. So I did business cards for myself called Read Tech Solutions. Never forget that. So
at class 8.
Yeah, but class 8 I did. I think
most of us are thinking which high school we are going to. I didn't think I'd even do those Dribble and Yahoo until I don't know form something.
Yeah, I think the exposure and just being in that environment, because right then is when I was like, let me find a cyber cafe, tell them that I'll work for them for free if they let me use the internet, learn. So it was like an exchange. So yeah, they were so happy.
At class 8.
Yeah.
But that's smart.
Yeah, they were like so happy. They were like, yeah, come. This is the cyber. You'll just work here, help guys, then you can.
That's not child labor.
This is Africa. John is Africa. I prefer to view it as apprenticeship, a learning apprenticeship.
Internship.
Yes, internship. Plus, I wasn't getting paid, so technically,
it's not child labor.
It's not child labor. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's when I made my first business cards. Then I figured I was kind of understanding the tech aspect of things. So I started teaching package courses to the people who are coming. So now I think now I actually started earning something small. And so now that allowed me to like even now research a bit more, print the business cards, and start do like to flyers, and hand them out at like guys who come to the cyber and even the places around. Like if you want Microsoft Word installed, if you want Office installed, or your computer is not working, call me.
Okay, so let's just put it like this. You're in class 8 teaching people who are like in their 1920s.
1920s, just cleared high school.
Okay, cool. Okay. This is the typical example of telling me you're smart without telling me you're smart.
Oh, wow.
So after class 8, now you went to... So this passion continued till?
This passion continued, I think, all the way, because now the spark had been ignited.
Yeah.
So after that, I think high school, did computer, then proceeded. I always knew I wanted to do computer science.
Yeah.
Just from that onset. So after finding out, there's something called computer science that you can do when you go to campus.
Yeah.
Like I knew that's what I wanted to do. So yeah, did it all the way high school, then campus, joined JKUAT, Jomo Kenyatta, comrades, Juja Boys as it used to be called.
It's still being called that?
It's still called Juja Boys.
Yes.
Wow. But
the ratio of women, of ladies to gentlemen is like 1-20.
Yeah.
So still Juja Boys.
I do remember, I mean, even like in our class, I think we had only 5 or 6 ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go say hi to her. By the time the class is over, she's received like 20 other highs. But
no dating at Juja Boys.
Well, I think things have changed, or I have had things have changed. Or I hope things have changed as more and more women embrace technology and get adopted into the tech space.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a great thing and something that there should be more of. So that's where it started. Then I think now in campus is where I think first year, second year there, we started learning about programming, technology. But then I was having more or less like a kind of like a disconnect, because then I was always curious. I've always been curious when it comes to tech. So a lot of what I was seeing online versus what I was learning in class, I was realizing was very vague.
Yeah.
And not even vague, but a bit outdated.
Yeah.
I remember there was a unit in like, I think first year. We were being taught about software development. And so the lecturer came and told us, so today I'll be teaching you about how to develop software. And we are going to use methodology from 1960. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. So
should we blame the school system how we are not developing as a country when it comes to technology and keeping up with the trends? Is it a part we should consider looking into?
I think definitely, because if in a unit in campus, first year you're being taught about the software development life cycle, developed in 1960. Yet when you go online and look at how software is developed, there are aspects, agile, scrum, like different, more updated ways of how software is developed. So there's a huge gap, I believe, there that definitely needs to be
looked into.
Exactly.
So did you attend class? Because now it's shallow and you're already smart. You've established you're already smart. You've been in the business. So you're looking at your lecture, we can change positions. So did you attend class?
Well. Let me tell you mine. Me and classes was a battle, but I was very picky with classes I wanted to attend. So like looking like at the beginning of the semester, I'd look at the units you're doing, and then I'd see maybe something like computer graphics, and I'd be like, "Ooh, that's interesting. I don't think I've done that." So I know I'll attend a lot of that. So I'd say, my mom might be watching this at some point. Yes, I went to class.
You went to class.
He went to class. I went to all the classes.
We can confirm.
Any classes. But for the ones I missed and did not attend, I was actually attending a lot of tech events. So I did most of that. So I'd like balance my week and see which classes will I not miss, and then attend tech events happening at iHub, just to get to know how the tech industry is, meet a few people, do a bit of networking, and potentially get clients who wanted things developed for them, because then now I had gotten my skills where I was doing a bit of software development, making websites. So that's I think where I think now the journey started in first year.
So before we can jump, I think what I'm taking away is, as much as in school, just also immerse yourself in the industry, just to be able to learn what's happening in the industry. You'll grow more that way.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you finished school.
So we finished school. Right when we finished school, I'd gotten an opportunity to join Microsoft. So right actually when we were about to finish school, before on the last year, you're supposed to have your internship. So when we were having, during that period, I was like, okay, I think I've gotten a bit of skills in tech. Let me do some applications. And I wanted to like find the best tech companies. So I Googled around. I saw there's Google, there's Microsoft. Then I saw that Microsoft had some opening positions they had advertised. So I was like, why not apply? So this was, I think, now third year, the last semester, right when you're about now to go for the internship. And so I did the application. Then with a lot of God's grace and favor, got shortlisted by Microsoft.
Oh,
then thank you. I was so excited at the time, because I was like, Microsoft, Bill Gates. I've always loved Windows. I'd always loved computers. So we went through the interview process. It was rigorous.
Yeah.
I think in all my years, even doing tech, well, now looking back, I realized that, okay, it's concepts and things that I kind of have an idea, but then it was so intense because you having an interview, especially like the technical interview with like the head of engineering from Seattle, and he's asking you concepts you've never touched on in JQuat, or even in any class whatsoever, about data structures and algorithms. But I'd kind of done a lot of prep work before, just gone on YouTube, just looked at how tech interviews are like for international companies. So so I passed the technical evaluation phase. So I was supposed to, in August, go now to join Microsoft Cairo. They have a research lab in Cairo, so I was supposed to go join that team. So right around, I think that's June, like 2 months or 3 months before I was to travel. So they sent me everything, started processing my work visa, permit, all those things, all those aspects. So mimi nyumbani nishaambia watu mimi sasa
naenda Cairo,
naenda Cairo, Egypt, joining the
mtaniona ile siku mtaniona.
Kama mnataka kunituma vitu, if you want to send me something,
it's okay, I of you.
It's okay anyway. And of course then my mom has told her, my aunties and her friends, we've done like
wait, what happened?
Family. So we're getting there. So 2 months before we go, the Microsoft team asked me to jump on a call. So part of the cohort that we were to start in August, they had decided to reschedule it and postpone it to the next year.
Macho's tears.
So there I am. We've just joined the call with the other cohort members and learned that they've pushed the cohort for that particular team who are joining to the next year in August.
Oh.
So
pause. How were you feeling in that moment after when you had those news, those words come out?
Oh my God. I was like, ndambia nili wapi? What will I tell people? Because you've become so invested in this. Everything is kind of planned.
On a shopping list, you have a shopping list.
You know, shabeba mangoes. Because I figured maybe in Egypt they don't have the true Machakos juicy mangoes. I was like, I need to make sure that I carry a few. I wasn't sure if they'd allow me to carry them at the airport, but I was like, why not? I'll just tell them that Akamba was very passionate about mangoes. But yeah, so I was like, so now I have to eat all my mangoes here at home. And at the same time, all these plans. So remember at this time, as part of the graduation, as part of our school program, you needed to do the internship and an internship. Yeah. So I'd already spoken to the school on how I can have that postponed and do my program as part of your internship. That's so smart. I'm like, now I have to find
another opportunity.
Yeah. So I think that was when I was like, okay, fine. This Microsoft thing has been scheduled, but I'd been thinking of again. Remember, like my entrepreneurship side of things, doing or working with tech in my own capacity. So there's this group of friends. We were very good friends with in campus. We were doing a couple of projects together, websites. We had formed like an entity, not formally, but like a unit called Momentum Core within the campus, where we'd like do small websites. I was learning how to make apps as well. So with the awesome people and that team, we were like, why don't we build our own solution?
Yeah.
So that's when I think my first official company was born. That was GuideRig. And GuideRig, basically, we were trying to think of how we can guide people around campus using smart technology. So students have an app on their phone, the GuideRig app on their phone. Then we have like beacons at certain points within the campus. So when you go to or walk around JKUAT, when you walk around the campus, your phone can give you pings based on, hey, this is the lab, this is where the library is. So if you're curious or you're new to the campus, because that's the problem we're solving. A lot of people just go into campus, you have no idea where everything is.
KU needs that. KU needs that.
Yes, I definitely think they did. Yeah, so that's how the company or the concept of the idea was born. And so we at that same time, Safaricom, one of the biggest telcos in East Africa, had just announced they were launching an entrepreneurship challenge for entrepreneurs to compete for 10,000 USD and at the same time be part of an accelerator program.
Yeah.
So that's when I think with we were about 4 or 5 at the time. We were like, why not? Let's apply for this and then build the solution and participate in the accelerator program. Yeah, so that's a journey. Applied, successfully got shortlisted. Fast forward, went to win the award.
I think your stars are overworking, or is it your angel? Like everything, everything you play is like, oh, it works out.
No, I think it's a lot of. I think the bit that is not mentioned is for the ones that succeed, there have been 20 or 10 that have failed.
Oh, true.
So you've done other applications, you've done other things that, of course, have not worked out. And I think that's the bit that a lot of people don't see. They see the success. They see, oh, this is the great part that worked out, but they don't know the work that actually went behind the scenes.
Now that you've spoken about it, which is one application that you applied and you didn't get in, and it really, you wanted it, but you didn't get it, and it really kind of hurt you?
Actually, the first one was Google. Before I'd even done the Microsoft one, I'd done the Google one. And that one I did not get in at the time. So that one really demotivated me. But I was like, well, technically there are other big tech companies. That's when I did the Microsoft application. Yeah. So I think that was one. And other more, I think, over that period. Even by the time we were getting shortlisted to be part of the Safaricom AppWiz Challenge in 2014, there were other teams we were competing against. So there were different levels we had to kind of pass and go through. Refine the product, build the product. That was the first time I was learning about business models and business canvas models and ideating a business.
Yeah.
So, but I think the great part is I think I had a really good team. And that's the one thing I always attribute is you can't do it alone.
You can't.
Yeah. I think someone, I'm not sure, who said if you want to do it and take a lot of time, do it alone. But if you want to do it fast, then
do it with others. Yeah.
So that was the great team that I had at the time. So they were actually classmates of mine. Tracy, amazing Chris, Alan at the time, who was part of the team, and Timothy as well, part of the team, and some of our other friends, Dennis and part of a few other people. So the five of us, we were able to actually participate in the competition, each of us bringing their own skills, experience, and areas of strength. And that's, I think, how we were able to actually come out as the part of the winners for the challenge.
But what you've said is really true, because I'm currently reading a book, Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's about companies that were good and then became great and stayed great. And one of the things they say is you first need to get the right people before you even get the direction. Yeah. So I totally agree. You need to get the right people in your team.
Definitely.
So did you win?
Yes. We did.
Shocker.
I think that was the first, the 10,000 USD was the first seed investment.
That's like 1 million?
It's about $1 million.
Kenya shillings.
It was around 1.2 million Kenya shillings.
Oh, that's good money for like how old?
Campus
you?
people.
How old were you?
I think I was 20 something, 23, 21. 22.
That's good money.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So did you buy shoes, chains, go to Dubai?
I think that was where now the true entrepreneurship metal is kind of tested. Because then after we won, then we were now just about to graduate.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we were five of us. We were like, what do you want to do? And the bigger team, or part of the bigger team, were like, sasa juu pesa imeingia. Me, now that the money is here, I don't see myself continuing with this.
Yeah.
So just give me my share, and then wish you guys the best. Yeah. So part of the team exited, and then the rest of the team, we were like, let's take this money that we have been given and see if we can turn it into 10 million. And
did you turn it into 10 million?
At some point, I think, yes, we did.
Oh, wow.
But it's been, and that has been the journey, I think, just more and more. But I think that was like the starting point of my entrepreneurship and our entrepreneurship journey, because now the rest of us were like, now let's formalize this as an actual company, as a startup.
Yeah.
And now see if we can provide solutions and solve problems using our tech.
Okay. We're going to talk about your entrepreneurship journey and another day.
Definitely.
How you started the company to now. How old is it now?
We're about 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to talk about that, the challenges that come with entrepreneurship, starting a company, hiring people and all that. That's a conversation for another day. Okay. So I want to get back into, so you've started your business 5 years down the line. Why did you decide, now I want to start farming?
So as I think the world happened, COVID was such a turning point for a lot of people in 2020. And when COVID happened, one of our guide rig business, the one for guiding people, we had pivoted it to also have a solution for events where we provide, we use data-driven insights to provide feedback and engagement for events. So a lot of people focus on ticketing, but we were more focused on data and seeing how companies, brands, organizations can use events to get insights and then dig deep in terms of how this data can help them in making their business decisions.
Yeah.
So we had focused on that aspect of events, and the company was growing quite well. And come 2020, COVID happened and the world shut down.
Yeah.
So when the world shut down, there were no events. Absolutely.
None. Only Zoom events.
Exactly, only virtual events. So I think that was such a high turning point, I think, even for me just individually. And I thought it would be interesting to find out, try something different. And so that was when I was curious about, okay, not even really just from a revenue stream, but I was like, if one part of the world is affected completely, the one thing that was still allowed to move was food. Yes. So when I was seated, I was like, all of us can't go anywhere, all of us can move, but they've said that essential services, that's the term they used, and food was part of the essential services. So I was like, food is still thriving despite everything else
and being very expensive at that matter.
Exactly, on that matter. So that was when I was like, I think my entrepreneurship side was like, okay, maybe try something around food. And so nikasema, I know I have no experience with farming, no idea how to go about it. So I was like, let me deep dive, try it out. If it works, well and good. If it doesn't, at least my mom will have something to eat
at the end of it
at the end of the day. So I was like, when I think about it, it's a win-win either way. And either way, even if that doesn't happen, I'll have learned something
true,
that I can apply in my company, in my business, or in any other aspect. So in 2022 last year is when I started the process. I was like, okay, fine. I identified a piece of land, identified where I can be able to get water for irrigation, because I do irrigation-based farming, and then also identified like my niche focus for what I wanted to farm, which is kienyeji vegetables. And so that was when I think Fresh Farm, it's called Fresh Farm, and the fresh is like a number 4. So Fresh Farm was born. And it was such a painful journey. Oh my God. I was not ready.
What was the most painful bit about the journey?
Hey, I think, where do I even start? I think the biggest one was, first of all, you can never do telephone farming. I think you can.
There's something like telephone farming?
Yes. Let me tell you, as I learned. So telephone farming is where you get a piece of land somewhere, you purchase the land, you get everything that is needed, then you get a farm manager or like an employee to work at the farm. So all the employee does is give you calls, tell you, we want to plant 1, 2, 3, send some money for us to plant 1, 2, 3. And then you'll call and get updates. How is the farm doing? How is the land? And then hit send money. That's it. That I think
I guess
what's coming.
Oh, there's nothing planted.
Oh my God.
Nothing was planted in that farm.
The money was sent. Nothing was planted.
Wow.
And of course there was a reason why nothing came out. So now when finally, after I think like 3 months, I'm like, let me go now physically and check on the farm, and then find there's nothing. Then I'm told, it's tough.
So it is.
They had actually come out, but then they died again. Then I'm looking at the land. I'm like, there should have been at least one item. But I think those were the lessons. So that was a big lesson for me. But the good thing is, I think also at the time.
So how did you overcome? Like now you there's no telefarming. So how did you go about it to make a change?
So I realized I had to be more involved. And so I came up with a structure where now periodically over the weekends, I'd actually make time to go and see how the farm is doing. And then also the good thing is, I think at the time, say sometime next year, I'd also kind of learned the basics of what's needed to farm. Like if I'm doing managu or kale or skuma, I already know at this point I'll need to do watering. At this point I'll need a bit of fertilizer. At this point I'll need to do a bit of pruning.
Yeah.
So I started having that knowledge. So even now when I got my farm, the other new farm manager, and he'd be like, I think we need to do watering. I'm like, nah. Next week on Wednesday is the right time.
So how did you learn this?
I think just trial by fire. But then at the same time also I found a good mentor. So there's another farmer who farms near where my farm is, and she has done it successfully.
Yeah.
So I went and talked to her. She's a bit older, almost like my shosha's age. So I was like, Mom, I want to farm. and I have no idea. Can you give me some insights? So she's the one who started telling me, these are the things to look out for. These are some of the cycles when you're doing your planting. This is how to kind of plan it, because instead of just doing it blindly, so that you have a consistent cycle for produce. Yeah, so that really helped. And I think that's one thing I would not underrate in any industry or field. Find a mentor, find somebody who's doing it or has done it, and just tell them you want to learn and ask them if they can share some insights. And you'd be surprised. A lot of people are willing to actually teach you. And now you don't have to go through the same mistakes and go through the same trial by fire. If somebody has walked the journey and they've been able to succeed or make it through, those are lessons you can skip. You can be like, let me learn from this one, skip all those lessons, and then jump to the insights that they have. Yeah.
And now that you have harvested, now you have met your of expectations, what did you do with your first harvest? So did you have a plan for that?
Comes the next problem. As you learn. And that's why for me, I think these days I love farming so much, because I'm realizing it's such a journey learning experience. So I've taken care of the produce. So production is sorted. Then I stumble onto, there's another whole aspect called now the business side of things, the market side of things. So how are people going to get this produce? So what's going to happen? So then now I started learning. And I think one of the things that has really helped, I've learned, if you want to grow anything, just start very small. So I told my mom, I want you to tell all your friends that I have fresh skuma, I have fresh vegetables, I have fresh kienyeji, and this is where the farm is. They can call you, or this is my number. Either call you or this is my number, give me a call. I'll organize how my farm employee can be able to take that to them. So oddly enough, the first call came, the second one. Then when my mom was having her chama meetings, she tells her friends about it. They're like, by the way, my son is doing a bit of farming. And so also at the farm, I did the same thing. So I told my farm guy and some of the people who had come to the farm that they can tell the farm people to actually come and purchase from the farm. Then I also just walked around where my farm is located in like the town and went to the vibanda street. Then I tell the mothers at the vibanda, niaje mam, niko na shamba, niko na skuma, I can be bringing for you. Yeah. Or you can also come get it directly from the shamba. So she'd be curious, iko happy. Then I'd show her. Then that one mama kibanda tells another. So very, very slowly, I started seeing the women who ran the vibandas coming to the farm once like the produce was ready. So I think that ikasaidia. And so now
that helped.
That really helped. So now this year is when I'm like, okay, now I want to open up still on the marketing side and have the platform freshfarm.x to be communicated coming soon, where now retail people, anyone from the convenience of their home can place an order and organize how I can bring fresh farm produce to your home.
Yeah. That's nice. That's awesome. Okay, we don't talk about, but has it been profitable? It's been profitable.
I think I actually, after farming for a whole year.
When did you break even?
I think after farming for a whole year, that's 12 months. I think in month 12 is when I actually made the first money from the farm.
How much was it?
I think it was 5,000 shillings.
Oh, that's good money, but also like, kidogo.
Wow. Like, finally, there's positive cash flow from the farm.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the growth was. And that's where I realized that I think now finally I've been able to figure out everything that I need, or at least most of what I need, to now making it a profitable business. And
that's nice.
But beyond that, I think even beyond the money that the farm has started making, now my mom has constant food.
Yeah.
My family, dad, when it comes to greens, my siblings, anytime they need greens, they just go to the farm. They're there. So, of course, she has been overdoing it.
eating the stock.
And telling her friends, oh, it's okay, let me get you some. Yeah, let me get you some farm produce. But again, I think for me, that was the first goal why I started the farm. It wasn't even really for profit or to make money from it. It was just for her and the family and my siblings and dad and the people to have a place. If they need any groceries, they can be able to just go and take. So that was, I think for me, in my consideration, that was when I actually broke even. When the first set of groceries were taken home by mom.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And do you think you'll ever merge the farming with the tech?
So I think that's the phase that we are now going to. And that's why I talked about something we've been working on, which is a web-based platform that's also accessible on mobile, where you can actually be able to place orders for fresh groceries, and then having a unique aspect where you can actually track progress on like a week by week basis. So for example, a lot of the cycle for most groceries is about 3 weeks to a month. So if you need a considerable amount on like a week by week basis, then you can be able to just go on the platform, place the orders, get notifications and alerts when your produce or order is ready, and then have that delivered to you. So I think that's where now I've taken my tech knowledge and the experience I've had in the tech side of things to now build
market and build your
platform.
family.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can follow him on Fresh Farm on Instagram?
On all the socials. So that's Fresh Farm, and the fresh is for. So for Fresh Farm on Instagram, on Twitter, on IG, TikTok, on all the channels.
Okay, so if you're to explain or give a word to transitioning to, it's not like transitioning, but tech to now farming, because it's a whole totally different industry. How would you give your journey one word?
Compounded experience.
That's not one word. Okay, we'll take it. Compounded experience. I love that.
Yes.
And if there's somebody who wanted to transition from probably one career, one industry to another, or diversify their portfolio from like, oh, I work in the tech and also work in farming, or I work in fashion but I also work in tech. What advice can you give this person?
So I think the concept of, and it comes from the concept of compounded interest, where interest grows and compounds over time. And I think it was Albert Einstein who said that any man who has identified the power of compounding interest has identified a true gold mine.
Yeah.
The aspect is, I look at it as compounded experience. You take the experience you've had so far in whatever field you're in, and then apply the same concepts in the new venture or the new industry that you want to go to. So I'd learned about ideation, about asking the questions of maybe what problem are you solving in tech, what's the addressable market. So I took kind of all that knowledge. So when I came to the farming side of things, I was like applying the same or compounding the same experience I've had now in this other industry. And I think that's the bit that allows people to kind of do different things, because you have it in you, you've had the experiences. So there comes a time where now you can apply that.
Yeah. Anyway, that was our time. Thank you so much, James, for gracing our second episode. And I think we'll be hosting him, because I think also your entrepreneurship journey, building the tech company, is also another whole story in itself.
Full of many ups and downs, tears, laughs, joy, successes, failures. Quite the journey.
We'll leave that for another episode. So thank you very much for joining. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at The Journey Africa. That is Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and also listen on Spotify, Anchor, and all podcast platforms. So thank you, and keep it The Journey.
Thank you very much for hosting me as well. It was lovely to be here.
Yay!